guys, and welcome to this new video. So today we are going to be talking about my recent reads for spring 2021. So my friends and I have a book club, and most of these books are the ones that we read in the months of spring. So over the springtime we do read seasonally. Not all these books are seasonal books. We like to pick whatever we want, but yeah, so this is a mix of different kinds of books, and so I'm gonna talk to you about them, and maybe you'll find a book that you want to read next. So these are in no particular order. I'm just gonna talk about them. So the first book we have is 99% Mine by Sally Thorne, and this book, I didn't like it, which I was really hoping to like it because I love, one of my favorite books is The Hating Game by also by Sally Thorne, and that book is so good. I've read it quite a few times and I love it every single time I read it, but this book just kind of fell flat for me. We follow the main character, Darcy, and she has just been very independent. She travels the world. Her grandmother passes away and she kind of has to get her grandmother's house in order and sell it. So Darcy comes back home to kind of get everything in order, and little does she know the man that she's been in love with her whole life, and her brother, her twin brother's best friend, Tom, comes to clean up and fix up the house. So she's in love with him and she thinks that her brother owns him and she can't have him. Definitely, I wouldn't say a hate to love, but friends to lovers trope. It just wasn't that good. I didn't love it. I listened to it on audiobook, and sometimes listening to an audiobook for me just doesn't give me the same experience as reading it. But this one, I feel like if I did even read it, I don't know, the story wasn't as good. I didn't like the characters as much. I hated the whole, oh, you're my brother's friend, I can't have you. It's he's not owned. You people don't own this random man. He's both of your friend. You don't, one doesn't have to own the other even though you're twins. I didn't like that. So this book, see, I don't recommend it. Not that I don't recommend it, but I don't like telling someone no, don't read this book, it wasn't good. I don't prefer to do that because I may dislike this book, but you may love it. But I will say I personally did not like it, so that is that. So the next book we have is You Lucky Dog by Julia London, and this book is flip-flops between the two main characters. So we have Carly and Max, and they both have basset hounds, and they have the same dog walker. And so this dog walker gets arrested, and his friend, who has to bring all the dogs back, mixes up these two dogs. A whole, it's not really enemies or friends to lovers, it's strangers to lovers kind of trope. Both of them going through life and their struggles, and their dogs bring them together, and that's the thing that kind of binds them. So this book was really cute. Again, so this one I also did listen to it on audiobook, and I think that I liked this one better than 99% Mine. It did kind of fall flat in some areas, but overall it was a really cute book. I enjoyed it and I would recommend this book. Next we have a book that my friends and I wanted to read because it's also a movie. So we had wanted to read a book and watch the movie, so we decided to read Where You Go Bernadette by Maria Semple. This book I didn't like at all. I feel like that's just the theme. In the spring we read a lot of books we didn't really love. We thought we would like them, we hoped we would like them, but we didn't. And this is one of those books that was a disappointment because it sounds really interesting. You have this mother and kind of her up against all of the prep school moms, and her and her family are more eccentric than this well-to-do Seattle neighborhood, and Bernadette, the mom, has this secret that she's hiding, and she gets so overwhelmed that she runs away. It's this whole oh, where'd you go? But just all the little things that add up to them finding Bernadette is just dumb. Half of the things that happened, I was this is so stupid. It just was no point, or it was weird. And I definitely liked the movie better than the book. There were some big things in the book that didn't happen in the movie, and I don't want to explain too much because I don't want to spoil this book if anyone wants to read it. But I personally didn't like it. My friends didn't like it. I was hoping to love it and I didn't. So that's that. So next we have a book that I actually enjoyed, and this one is The Roommate by Rosie Danan, and this book follows our main character Clara, and it's her moving from the East Coast to the West Coast. So she's from this like well-to-do family in Connecticut, and she follows to California, to LA, this guy that she's been in love with for her whole life, and she decides to move out to California and live with him. Little does she know, he is actually going on tour with his band, and so she now has to live with a complete stranger who her friend that she's been in love with just picked to take his spot in the house. And so he just leaves her the day that she comes, and she has to live with this stranger, and turns out that stranger is a porn star. It's really cute. It follows both of them, both of their perspectives, Clara and Josh, but it follows them, and it's just really cute the way that they, you know, fall for each other, and how she steps out of her comfort zone a lot because of him. This book is really cute. I definitely want to read the Intimacy Project, I think, by the same author. Again, that one looks really cute, and so I definitely would love to read more by this author. So next we have The Chicken Sisters by KJ Dell'Antonia, and this book follows these two sisters, and they both work at competing chicken restaurants. It's kind of like a weird family tree. So there was these two sisters way before the main characters of the book, and they owned a chicken restaurant, and then something happened and these two sisters got in a fight and split and made two different chicken restaurants. Years later, we go like past a lot of years later, and there's two sisters that were kind of like, I guess, born into one of these chicken restaurants, and one sister marries a guy from the competing chicken restaurant. So kind of a strange timeline. I didn't really understand it at first. Again, I also listened to this, so that could have played a part in it. This book did not like. Just like a lot of this whole theme is books I didn't really like. So I felt the whole reason that these two families are fighting is really stupid and could have been avoided. Everyone is kind of dumb in this book, and you go back and forth between the perspectives of each sister, and both sisters are just like stupid. And the whole time I'm like listening to this, I was like, why would you do this? Like, you're an idiot. What's the point of this? Yeah, it's just, this book was really dumb. We wanted to read like a cute food book because we read a few earlier this year, end of last year, that we really enjoyed, and we were like, this sounds really cute and really fun, like competing chicken restaurants. The only thing this book made me do is want Chick-fil-A. So if you want to crave Chick-fil-A, read this book. Other than that, I wouldn't suggest it. So the next book that I have to share with you is a book that I absolutely adored, and it's The X-Talk by Rachel Solomon. I absolutely love this book. It's fairly new. I believe it came out the beginning of the year, but my friends and I decided to read it, and I loved it. I loved this book. So in this, we follow our main character, Shay, who works at a radio station in Seattle, and it's supposed to be like NPR kind of, and we also follow her rival, her co-worker Dominic, and he's fairly new to the company. He is just starting out working for their radio station. Meanwhile, she had to work years and years and years to get to be a producer. She doesn't like him at all. Like, there's a rivalry between them, and it turns out their radio station is actually failing, and so they have this company-wide meeting, and Shay ends up throwing it out there, why don't we have a radio show where we bring two exes together and they can talk and kind of explain why their relationship failed. The boss likes that, but he sets up Shay and Dominic to be the pretend exes for this radio show. So they have to lie to everyone and pretend they dated when they didn't, and they hate each other. So this one is enemies to lovers, classic trope, but it's done very well. I love this. I highly, highly recommend this. If you are looking for a really good romance, contemporary, hate to love book, I highly suggest this. It was also really interesting to get a book about like a radio show and slash podcast, because I feel like podcasts are just becoming very popular, or pretty recently have becoming more and more popular, and it's kind of interesting to get like the behind the scenes of it and learn about it, and just also about how, you know, it took Shay longer to get where she was because she's a woman, and how Dominic has it easy because he's a man. That's in there as well. So I definitely recommend this book. It was so good. Definite like winner out of our book club, so definitely recommend this. So next we have 3 books that I read in the springtime, and so one of my friends in our book club told me and our other friend we have to read this book, and it's a series. So we decided to read it. We kind of read a bunch of romance books that we didn't like, and I think we got burnt out on romance, so our friend suggested these dystopian books, and we read all 3 and they were incredible. And it's the Scythe series by Neil Shusterman. So first we have Scythe, then we have Thunderhead, and last we have The Toll. So I read all 3 in the spring, but the series follows our main characters Citra and Rowan, and they live in a world where there is no death. No one can die. If you die, you're technically deadish and you get brought back to life. But to help kind of control the population, there are these people that are turned into what they call scythes, and they are like the official killer. They go out and kill, and once you are killed by a scythe, you're dead, you're not coming back. So you're following Citra and Rowan on their kind of apprenticeship to become scythes, to become official scythes. This book, well, these books are incredible. The world building that Neil Shusterman does is amazing. It's futuristic but very interesting in the way that they do things in this world, and you get, you know, the typical villain who wants to, you know, wants all the power. You have that throughout this book, and it's just, I don't know how to explain it except that it's incredible. If you love dystopian books, if you loved The Hunger Games, if you love Divergent, The Giver, literally any of those books, I think you would love this. I'm not sure why it didn't get popular. Like, I don't remember ever hearing about this until my friend brought it up, but they are so good, and I wish I knew about them earlier. So if you are looking for a good dystopian series, I highly recommend Scythe. So next, unfortunately, we have 2 more books to talk about that I did not like, and the first one is Dear Emmie Blue by Leah Lewis, and this one was okay. I didn't love it, I didn't hate it. Solid 3 stars, 2.5 to 3 stars. So in this book we follow our main character Emmie, and she isn't very close with her family. She doesn't really have much family, and so one day she kind of lets out this red balloon, and it has a little card in it that, you know, says, call me, you know, hi, my name's Emmie. Someone finds it on the beach, picks it up, and they become friends. And it's basically this coming of age story. You know, she's in love with this guy who's not in love with her, and she's dealing with this kind of like deep struggle, this thing that happens that I don't want to talk about because that's a big spoiler, but she's dealing with that and just kind of like coming into herself, trying to find who her father is, trying to get the job, like a job that she loves. It was okay. I don't know, there was nothing special about it. I didn't love it, I didn't hate it. Would I read it again? No, but you know, if someone asked me, what, you know, would you recommend this, I would say it's worth the read. It was kind of blah. This is on your TBR list. I wouldn't run to go read it, but I wouldn't say take it off. So next we have a book that I didn't even finish. Like, I couldn't finish this. I started listening to it and I got about halfway through and I couldn't do it. I was also reading Scythe around the same time as this, and so that was definitely pulling me more than this book. And this one is Evvie Drake Starts Over, and I can honestly tell you I don't really remember anything about this book. I truly don't remember anything. I know it's about the main character, obviously Evvie Drake, and her husband dies in a car crash, and it's her trying to start over from her husband's death. I don't remember much about it. I think like she didn't really love her husband, or she was gonna leave him or something, but I can just say like it wasn't memorable at all. Definitely like Scythe was pulling my attention more. I don't know, I wouldn't recommend it, but it didn't pull my interest. I don't remember it. It's not memorable. I didn't finish. So that is Evvie Drake. And the last book we have to talk about that I actually listened to, because I did hear that listening was a little more interesting than reading, and I do have to agree with that. The audiobook kind of felt like a podcast. I liked that. It was very interesting to me. And this is The Anatomy of Desire by L.R. Dorn, and in this book we follow our main character Claire. She's a fitness influencer, and her, I guess, girlfriend dies. She drowns, and Claire is the one who is on trial for her murder. It's just really interesting the way it's told. Each character has a different voice actor or I guess voice person for the audiobook. And the story is told through her murder trial, and you're hearing the trial itself, you're hearing, you know, her explain things, you're hearing, you know, other people explain things. Like it's just very, very interesting, and I did like that. Again, the story was okay. I wasn't a huge fan of the ending. I just expected more. A listening experience to this book is really awesome. So if you like podcasts and you like true crime books, true crime podcasts, definitely I suggest listening to this over reading it. It just gave a different effect, which I've never experienced while listening to an audiobook. Usually you're listening to one person kind of voice all these different people, but this one was, I guess you could say, more authentic. It felt like you were actually listening to a true crime story about an actual murder case. I really liked this. Definitely recommend it, but listen, don't read it. So those are all the books that I read this spring. So a lot of duds, but the books that I did love, I feel like I really, really loved. So now we're moving on to summer books, and I'm really excited to lounge by the pool, go to the beach, and read some really awesome summer contemporary romance books, and also mix in some new dystopians that I've not read yet. We have a good kind of bunch of books coming up here with our book club that I'm really excited to read, and I know the two that I'm currently reading now are really awesome, and I'm excited to finish them and talk about them. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have read any of these books, or you are planning on reading these books, leave a comment down below and let me know what you think of them. Give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you guys in my next video.